February 25th should have been a great day for Madeline Soto, her 13th birthday, celebrating a new phase in her life, becoming a teenager. There was a party, but her mother, Jenn Soto, could not make it. But her mother's live-in boyfriend was there, Stephan Stearns, a man who had been in Madeline's life for at least a couple of years. In fact, Jenn referred to him as Madeline's stepfather, even though they were not married. The next day, Jenn and Stephan say Stephan gave Madeline a ride to school. They also say Madeline was embarrassed and did not want to get dropped off in front of the school, so she was dropped off at a church parking lot less than half a mile away. That's the last time they say anyone had contact with her. Investigators say the evidence paints a much different picture. They claim they have evidence of Stearns dumping Madeline's laptop and backpack in a dumpster and have images of Madeline dead inside Stearns' car. Madeline never made it to school and was found 4 days later in some brush 22 miles from their home in Kissimmee, Florida. Stearns was arrested after images of Madeline being sexually assaulted were allegedly found on his phone, some dating back to when Madeline was just 11. But at this point, there have been no charges related to her death. And tonight, there are new charges in the case involving sex crimes and child pornography involving Stephan Stearns. What was he doing with all these images? And what about Madeline's mom? Where is she? We look for answers tonight as we continue to investigate the tragic life and death of Madeline Soto.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And this is big news in the case involving Madeline Soto. New charges tonight. But with all of this, I have a ton of questions. And questions we'll try to answer. I don't know if we can answer all of them, but let's begin here. Like, what did he do to her? What did he do to her? If this man is in fact the one responsible for everything he's been accused of, what exactly did he do to her? How many things did he do that weren't recorded on video or he didn't take pictures of? How often? Where was this taking place? How did he keep her quiet? What did he do to her to keep her quiet from telling someone? Now, she may have told her mother, we don't know, but how about a school teacher, a doctor, a friend, another family member? What did he do to her to keep her from telling anyone? Because this was abuse, this was ongoing abuse, this is stuff that has been memorialized, according to investigators, on his phone, despite the accidental factory reset. So this is a big question that, because she's no longer with us, we can't get the answer from Madeline. So we've got to figure it out. Investigators have to figure it out forensically, circumstantial evidence, interviews, images from a phone. Like, what did he do to her and how long was he doing this? Which brings me to another question. Why did he take the pictures? Was this for some form of self-gratification? Was it like a serial killer who's got to take something from the crime scene so they can remind themselves of it? Or was he sharing them? Was he sharing these images with someone? Was he selling them? Was she being trafficked? What exactly is going on here? Because with these new charges, we're talking about a lot of images that they've been able to recover from perhaps one device. What else was he doing? Was there anyone else involved? Why are you taking the pictures? What are you doing with those pictures? You sharing them? Which brings us back to the first question. What did he do to her? Where's mom? Where's mom in all of this? Like, where is she, like, right now? Is she cooperating? Is she helping investigators figure everything out here about what happened to Madeline? Is she helping them put together the pieces? Helping them with the timeline? Giving them as much information as possible? I don't know. Where is she when all this is going on? Because initially the first images from the paperwork, the affidavits, it seemed like it was happening inside the home. Was she at work while all this is taking place? Is she home? Is her daughter telling her? A lot of questions. And I hope that Jenn Soto is providing some answers to investigators. But I don't know. I don't know if investigators are looking at her. Because something really terrible was happening to this little girl. Really terrible. Which brings us to the final question. Like, this is the overall, like, what was going on in this house? What was everyone's relationship? What were the dynamics in there that would somehow, some way, in 1,400 square feet, on 2 levels, allow this little girl to be tortured over the course of years, sexually abused over the course of years? What was going on in there? Was there more violence that we don't know about? Is there information that the mother can provide to fill in the blanks? Or is she part of the equation? These are a lot of questions in this case. But one question that I can answer tonight is, despite the fact that there are no charges related to the death of Madeline Soto, Stephan Stern's not getting out. It's like, not with all of these new charges that have been brought in this case. He's not making bond, he's not getting out. And if he's convicted of these charges alone, he's done for the rest of his life. But we're not there yet. And there's still a murder that needs to be solved and questions that need to be answered. So let's start with the big news tonight from the Kissimmee Police Department, from the chief. She provided some details tonight about these new charges. Take a look. Shortly after Madeline Soto's disappearance, several disturbing images and videos, think about that for a moment, were found on Stephan Stern's phone. The City of Kissimmee Police Department quickly arrested Stearns, who remains in custody with the Osceola County Department of Corrections on no bond. That's crucial. While the murder investigation is taking place, there is no bond on these charges. The investigation now revealed more images and videos depicting criminal acts. The Kissimmee Police Department provided this evidence to the state attorney's office. Those are the prosecutors down in Florida. The local prosecutors of the state attorney's office, which found cause to file the following charges. You ready? Here they are. 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12. Significant. These numbers are significant because they relate to the potential penalty and punishment. 5 counts of sexual battery with a child age 12 to 18. 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation. Now, if you're trying to put 2 and 2 together here, how do you get 8 counts, 5 counts, 7 counts? These must be videos. These must be videos of the actual conduct and behavior. Because then you look at the last charge, which is a series of charges. 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images. So it's 10 or more images per count and 40 counts? It's like 400 images. What was going on in that house? We're going to try to get some answers tonight. Got people connected. They have sources down there. Joining me in Orlando, Florida, WFTV investigative reporter Shannon Butler is with us. And Osceola News-Gazette reporter Ken Jackson back with us as well. Great to see you both. Thank you for joining us. Shannon, what do we know about these new charges? Are they, I don't know if I'm just presuming, but do we believe they're all connected to Madeline Soto as the victim here?
We do, at least at this point. We knew from very early on in this investigation that it wasn't just that original charge. We were told that there were dozens, even hundreds of images on his cell phone. Remember, he did that factory reset, but once they downloaded that phone and took a look at the phone, they had already known very early on that there were more images on there than just the charges that he originally faced. They knew they could get that original charge because they had a video, and then the clothes inside one of the rooms matched what they say Stephan Stearns was wearing during that assault. Now they went and downloaded that phone. We knew these charges were coming this week. They came today. A lot of charges here. This story just gets worse and worse, it seems, by the week.
Ken, I'm wondering about how far back everything's going to go. They say, you know, under the age of 12, right? 8 counts. Do we know how far it goes back? Do we know when Stephan Stearns entered the life of Madeline Soto, when he ended up, you know, in her life, in her mother's life?
Not clear yet on how long they've been together, Jenn and Stephan. The reading that came out today in the charges, we had about 35 pages come from the state attorney's office this afternoon. 60 charges, that's pretty impressive, made for a lot of reading. I've got to give credit to Kissimmee Police Department's forensics unit on this. But in reading some of the charges, or all the charges, you do kind of get a pattern with the dates. Well, first of all, the fact that we have separate charges for sexual battery of a child under 12 and then another set for a child from 12 to 18. I know when I was on last week, I wondered, you know, we've got the one charge in the original 3 charges from 2022, and we openly wondered, did this go on for the last 2 years, or was it just this one? And the fact that you have 2 flavors of charges here, under 12 and 12 to 18, tells you that it went on for more than that one. The dates that they provided for some of these offenses, the first set came in, and there's a couple interesting patterns here. The first set and the charges were under 12, June and July of 2019, and then from July and August of 2022. And in the second set, the charges for sexual battery on a child from 12 to 18, again, much of the month of June of 2023. They're all in June, July, and August when school's out. So that creates an interesting pattern. But there's nothing between 2019 and 2022, which I find interesting.
Right, but that's a great pickup. You know, when school is out. When school is out, that means she's home during the day, perhaps. There is access, Shannon Butler. Mom works, right? What do we know? I mean, does Stephan Stearns work, or did he just find someone who could put a roof over his head?
Well, it's a mystery. Ken, I don't know if you looked, but we looked back at the Facebook posts, and we could trace Stephan Stearns, what appears to be in the life of Madeline and Jenn Soto, at least 6 years.
Wow.
Now, we don't know, because we've heard from different folks that maybe there was a period that maybe they had broken up and may not have been around. It depends on, you know, what the friends have to say, but at least the posts that we could find on social media went back as far as 6 years. There is that huge gap, but we don't know if this is the end, Vinny. We don't know if this is all they have. We don't know that we're not going to see more charges in that time. We then went to take a look at those posts, like how long he's been in her life. Then we're like, well, what does this guy do that he can pick her up and go to school? Because the mom a lot of times did work at night. And we couldn't find much. We found something that said that he was a realtor at some point. There was talk that he had worked at Disney. We actually had pictures from a friend that said he did. Disney says he did not work there. So we couldn't really find a very good history on where he worked or what he actually did for a living.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ken, any idea where mom is, like tonight or today, where she's staying, what her status is? Does she have a lawyer? Is she cooperating? Do we have any information along those lines?
Vinny, the only information that I've got, and this is second or third hand, is that she has a lawyer. And whether she's cooperating and that's the extent of it, whether she's cooperating or not. Something else I wanted to mention in those charges, in the lewd and lascivious charges, the 6 charges or so, they make reference to someone who had a familial or custodial authority. That pretty much hems in who this is and who did it. And something else I wanted to share. In the state of Florida now, as of 2023, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill making sexual battery on a child under 12 a capital offense. So he could get the death penalty with a conviction here. Now I do read that this could face some constitutional court challenges, but right here in the suburbs of Orlando, up in Lake County, there was a case on this back in February where a man was arrested, charged with sexual battery under 12, actually pled guilty and received life in prison. So even if we don't have murder charges yet, I would say if we do get murder charges and there's a conviction, there's a good chance of the death penalty here. But, we're already talking about the death penalty as a possibility before we even have a murder charge.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing. No bond right now for him. He's not getting out on bond. And these charges, if they can prove them, and these are strong cases, these rarely go to trial because it's like video and digital evidence. I want to put something else on the screen. And I saw this report from the Orlando Sentinel that a St. Cloud man killed himself Tuesday as law enforcement officers were preparing to arrest him and his father for creating and distributing child pornography. Henry Cox died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound before he could be served with a federal warrant for his arrest. St. Cloud police said in an email, James Cox, 79, was arrested and is currently being held in the Seminole County Jail without bond. The arrest comes after the St. Cloud police received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, alleging the IP address linked to Henry and James Cox's home was uploading graphic naked images of young girls, all really bad. And then they did a search of the home on January 19th where they discovered hundreds of pictures of naked children on laptops, over 50 videos. Some of the images were filmed inside the home. Now here's why I bring this up tonight. Let's take a look at this map. Madeline Soto's home is in Kissimmee, Florida, right? Her body, we can show where her body was found. We'll take a look there. And that is, if you follow the trail, is just east of St. Cloud, St. Cloud proper, right over there in the brush. And then look at what's in the middle of this trail is the home of Henry and James Cox's, seemingly on the way. Now, is there anything that you've heard, Shannon, down in Central Florida, whether investigators are looking at whether there's any connection here, or is this just coincidental, the timing of all of this and the location of all of this?
It was so weird that this story came up just a few days after because of that proximity. The dad, the neighborhood kids called him Santa. It came up right after that, and we immediately thought, oh my gosh, is there some kind of weird ring going on in Osceola County? And that they were sharing pictures and things like that. There is no indication, at least right now, the U.S. Marshals, so that was more of a federal case. They're actually, the dad is being held in a federal under federal custody. So right now there is no link to that, but there is a lot of talk about what was going on down there and if people were sharing pictures, if one knew the other. But so far, investigators have not said there's any link between them, but there's a lot of people wondering if someday there will be.
Ken, let me ask you, and Stephan, like, why is he out there in the St. Cloud area? Was there any information on that?
Well, why he was, they had a link to him being on a couple of roads that would link St. Cloud and Kissimmee that afternoon, the Monday afternoon when he went missing. I mean, it placed him, it helps place him where the body was found out there east of St. Cloud. I mean, that's Hickory Tree Road. There's some houses out that way. It's not a lot. It's not as wooded as people are talking. I mean, it is pretty, I guess, desolate would be a good way to put it.
Is it more swampy than more swamp than woods?
Yeah, it's more farmland. You're more likely to find cows than you would, swamp things out that way. But you talk about the coincidence of the Cox case coming up at the same time that the Madeline Soto investigation is going on. Something else to mention, that same week, we had another teenager reported missing and go missing in Orange County. 15-year-old girl, the end of the week, right around the time where Madeline's body was found that week. So a lot of coincidences with this, and it makes for a lot of conversation, considering that this is on the top of everybody's mind around here in Osceola County.
Absolutely. Great job tonight. So glad both of you were able to come on. Shannon Butler, WFTV investigative reporter. Make sure you check out online if you don't live in Central Florida. And, of course, you can check out Ken Jackson's work on the Osceola News-Gazette. Thank you both so much. We'll see you again. When we come back, folks, we got some more great guests. We're going to bring in some sex crime experts, plus Gray Hughes. You may know him from YouTube. Gray Hughes Investigates. Spoke to some friends of Stephan Stearns. Fascinating, scary stuff there. Plus, coming up next hour.
In Norfolk County, Massachusetts, Karen Reed has been charged with the murder of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She claims she's innocent and is being framed by police. And a whole bunch of folks are showing up at the courthouse supporting her.
Free Karen Reed! Free Karen Reed!
The first parents in America to be charged in a mass school shooting.
Involuntary manslaughter and 4 counts of it.
The gun recovered from the shooter was the same gun that was purchased by his father.
Jennifer was found guilty.
Who is responsible for storing the gun?
Now the school shooter's father is set to stand trial.
My husband is.
The School Shooter Dad Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Please share this Crime Line bulletin on my right of Stephen Stearns. He was last seen driving a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. The Florida tag is IYLL82. On Monday, February 26th, between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road. During this time frame, it is believed that Stearns had a flat tire and might have been seen changing the tire in this area. If anyone saw this vehicle or noticed anything suspicious, we're asking that they call Crime Line.
Yeah, that's the road where Madeline Soto's body was found. Let me bring in my guests. I have an unbelievable panel tonight. Joining me tonight in Portland, Oregon, a podcaster, Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Make sure you're watching that. In Atlanta, Georgia, former special agent in charge, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Trebor Randall. In Rutherford, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney. We used to prosecute together back in the day. Kenneth Ralph is with us. And in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Let me start with you, Trebor Randall. all these images now. I mean, it's not just a couple pictures. It's going back apparently to 2019. 2019. Hundreds and hundreds of images. What does this tell you about Stephan Stearns?
It tells us a lot, Vinny, that we definitely have a predator on our hands. It's unfortunate that, this wasn't detected sooner so that this could have been prevented. But it is not uncommon when we go in and do these investigations, whether it's a possession case or manufacturing, or whether it's tied to an actual crime against a child, a crime of violence. Like in this scenario, sometimes we have thousands of images that have to be detailed. They have to be, marked for the court. Unfortunately, many times we have to go through each one of these pieces of media, whether it's a video or a still photo, to make sure that we have an identity to the child to attach to it. And it's very taxing work, very unfortunate, but very necessary.
Kenneth Ralph, I know you were a sex crimes prosecutor for many years in New Jersey. From your experience, someone that is keeping all of these images, is that something that the people you prosecuted, they would keep for their own personal use, or did they create these images to share, to sell? What's your experience tell you?
Well, Vinny, that could be either possibility, could be true. You do have people who are doing these acts, perpetrating these acts, and keeping collections or souvenirs of these their events that they participated in. They may be sharing it with others, maybe a small network, or maybe perhaps they're disseminating it beyond the small network. You'll have a lot of forensic analysis to follow up on here, and they'll be able to trace whether these images were shared or not, I'm sure.
Gray Hughes doing unbelievable work on his podcast. I want to play a clip from your show, Gray. You were speaking with someone who knows Stephan Stearns. Let's take a listen.
There's just a lot of details about my interaction with Stephan, just as being, preteen and teens, that he was a very strange, weird kid. Just collecting semen in bottles. My dad runs out there from the front and goes to the barn and, sees this person, doesn't know who it is, sneaks up on him, and there was a light switch on both sides of the overhang where the cars are parked. My dad flicks it on and has his Glock 10 millimeter pointed at the person, tells him to turn around, and startles him. And it's Stephan. And he was over there with a camera, and it appeared to be he was trying to take pictures of whatever my mom was doing.
All right, great. Where did you track down this friend? And you spoke to others as well. And what did you uncover here?
Well, the original person called my show, a person named Chase. They called my show, and I turned that into a video by itself, just the call, because it was so interesting. On that call, I think he mentioned different things about Stephan actually putting a camera in a room that filmed into the bathroom that recorded his roommate's girlfriend in the bathroom. And then he stored all the information out on a server in the home. So I put that video out there, and then a few friends commented underneath that video, and then I contacted them, and I did separate interviews with them. And man, it's just a lot of red flags throughout his life.
How far back does this behavior, this alleged behavior, go back, according to these folks who came forward?
I think he was about 13 years old when he was collecting his semen in glass containers. I mean, just really crazy stuff. So, way back.
All right, Dr. Carol Lieberman, I wanted to give you some stuff to go through now. What does any of this tell you? If these allegations of the pictures, the allegations of what Gray's guests described, what picture are you getting in your mind? And ultimately, why is he taking these photos?
Well, what it says is that by the time he was a preteen, before that even, but things twisted him sexually. Things had happened in his childhood. Maybe he was abused. Maybe, people were taking pictures of him and selling them for pornography. But whatever, that there had to have been significant things that happened before this preteen age, before he was collecting his semen and taking, being a peeping Tom about, his friend's mother. This is just playing out. I mean, it's really sickeningly interesting that this is just a continuation of his acting out his twisted sexual beginnings.
And I just want to remind folks, he's presumed innocent at this point. These are just allegations. This is the way our system works. But this is the information that is coming out in the allegations that are coming from seemingly everywhere now. Now, Stephan Stern's Facebook page says that he worked at Disney World, and many people have been wondering if that could possibly be true, considering the crimes that he's accused of. But some online sleuths believe they've tracked down a video that appears to show Stephan Stern working at the entrance of Journey into Imagination in Epcot in a video posted on Travel in 360's YouTube page. We pulled a still from that image from the beginning of the video. Gray Hughes, again, pointed this out to me, where you can see a Disney employee who appears to look a lot like Stephan Stern. Gray, looking at this, were you surprised, shocked? What else did you learn about this?
I wasn't really that shocked. I think he might be working for maybe a contract company, so then Disney can then claim that he didn't work for them, right? But maybe he worked for a contract company. But he does appear to work there, and every single one of the friends that I spoke to said he worked at Disney. So I think he has a connection to Disney. Now, whether or not they're the ones that hired him or the contracting company, I don't know. But I think that's absolutely him right there.
It looks like him. It looks like him, and it's scary. But that's where you're going to get a job, or you're going to try to coach, little girls soccer or something like that. That's why you got to do the background checks, folks. Have to do the background checks each and every time. All right, all our great guests are staying with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about Madeline's mother. Where is Jennifer Soto, and where is she as all of this is happening?
At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Stern returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
Already dead in the video. This is the man who was the prime suspect in the murder of Madeline Soto, her mother's boyfriend, who she referred to as stepfather. I don't know if that's what Madeline considered him a stepfather or not. That's clearly not how a stepfather is supposed to act. So I would not give him that title. So Jenn Soto spoke to WFTV to recall what happened and spoke about what happened that morning. Remember, she gave this interview when this was still a missing persons case. Let's watch.
We called the police at 4:45 yesterday. 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
Our guests are back with us. Trebor Randall, how would you approach mom in this situation? Do you approach her as a witness or as a suspect?
Well, we always approach them to gain the information we need to find this child. And then now that we know this has taken a turn for the worst to gather the facts to make sure we bring the person to justice. It is not uncommon that we end up treating some of the mothers in these cases as what we refer to as a hostile witness. I wish I could tell you that I hadn't had a number of cases where we ended up charging the mother for protecting her paramour, is what we call it when we're referring to her partner that she's not married to. And oftentimes it puts a child at a higher risk many times when we know that the mother has a boyfriend in the home and they're missing, or there's been an injury. Statistically speaking, that's a lot of times who we're looking for.
Kenneth Ralph, if in fact she does have an attorney at this point, how does that change the dynamics here?
Well, presumably she will not be speaking to law enforcement if she has an attorney. And I would echo those comments that it's not hardly uncommon at all that we see a non-offending but non-supportive parent involved who either knows what is going on and turns a blind eye to it, or hinders the investigation in some way after it has started. But in this instance, if she has hired a counsel, I'm sure that counsel will tell her not to speak to law enforcement.
Yeah, you guys always do that, Ken. Always. They never talk. Dr. Carol Lieberman, where do you think the mother is mentally at this point?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and it kind of depends upon whether she knew anything about it. If she did know, then she's realizing that everything's going to be coming down on her as well as the boyfriend. If she didn't know, then she'd really be in shock and she'd be, all the more upset. But, one of the things the most important thing I think that people need to learn from this case, and I know I said it last time, but you can't say it too many times, that this is a typical scenario where these sexual predators find single mothers who have low self-esteem, don't have, a very exciting life, good life, don't have a boyfriend or a husband, and they swoop in when the mother has a child. And really, they're doing it, they're becoming the boyfriend because they want to sexually abuse the child. So whether she knew or not, consciously or unconsciously knew, that's what she let herself in for. And women have to be so careful of this.
Gray Hughes, what have you uncovered about the mother and any indication where she is right now?
Well, I have no idea where she is right now, but I'm sure an attorney's probably had her, go low, hide from the public eye, make sure nobody can see or talk to her. Because the interviews that she did, there's so many people judging her based on how she answered. In my opinion, it's very possible that the information she's telling us was scripted by Stephan Stearns, and she's just kind of repeating. That's why she's kind of looking up in the air, trying to remember what the story is. But one of the issues that she does have that I think people should think about is when she said that at 8 in the morning, she saw Madeline getting dressed for school. Now, that might come back to be a problem for her because at 7:30 in the morning, Stephan Stearns was putting the backpack and laptop into a dumpster, which we would all assume at that point then, Madeline's likely not alive at that point. So at 8 in the morning, how is she seeing her? Now, you could say, well, she made a mistake, it was off. Now, law enforcement might be able to determine, based on digestion or any other elements, exactly when she passed away. So when she died, it could have been at, let's say, 5 in the morning, and that would mean that Jennifer is offering proof of life at 8 in the morning to help support Stephan Stearns' story, right, at that point. So that would be an interesting development.
Yeah, that'd be a major problem for her. Major problem for her and part of the defense. Wow. What a great panel of guests tonight. Great insight. Gray Hughes, check out his amazing content online on YouTube. Gray Hughes Investigates. Trebor Randall, great to see you. Ken Ralph, always a pleasure. It's always been way too long. And Dr. Carol Lieberman, always there. Thank you so much.